Okay, so we're getting ready to do your first past life regression.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Ooh, I'm a little nervous actually, but I'm excited. Like it's time. I've been wanting to do this for years and have always come up with some reason not to do it or whatever, but the call to do it is not going away. So, yeah.
Okay. So tell me why. What are you looking for? Why are you here?
I guess from a big picture perspective, I want to really figure out what from my past or other lives or whatever, the wisdom there, I want to sort of bring it into this present moment to use it to like make life fulfilling and do what I think are important things and leave behind the stuff that's heavy, that's like blocking me from doing the important things, like the fear or whatever it is that the cycles I need to break or that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything in particular that you feel is pulling at you in regards to different cultures or timelines or patterns? Anything that's kind of coming up for you that you'd like to explore? Even things like recurring dreams or different cultures that you feel particularly drawn to?
So I guess the Renaissance always has sort of stood out to me in some way. Just any time that's like super creative and, I don't know, supportive of creativity and things like that, and ideas and new ways of being. But then also I'm really, really drawn to, and this is the first time I've ever said this out loud or anything in like a public type of way. But I'm really drawn to like extraterrestrial things. And so I've really been drawn to like the Pleiades, and I'm learning a lot about Andromeda and the different star systems. And so all of that's really interesting. I have no clue how I think it would, well, I say no clue, but I don't know how it would fit in with anything, but I'm really interested in those kinds of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, even indigenous culture too. Like there's so much.
Yeah.
I think I'm open to focusing wherever the journey takes us. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just ask because sometimes people are really curious about a certain person or culture, or place or time. But even when that is the case, sometimes the journey can take us somewhere completely different. So it is very much in this work, we can sort of make a plan, so to speak, but in the end, we're along for the ride of whatever like your subconscious, your spirit wants to show us.
Okay.
And my philosophy on this type of past life work is that I don't definitively know what's going on when we do these type of sessions. I know that something is going on. I don't know exactly what. Is it a true past life that your unique soul has experienced? I oftentimes also will have people go into timelines that don't make sense. Like there's overlap with their current life, or it is current time, or it feels like future, or it feels like not Earth. Like there's a lot of different things that can come up. And so is it past? Is it future? Is it parallel? Is it like if we are all one, right? If we're all drops in the same sea, who's to say if it's your life or my life or kind of whose life is it anyway?
Yeah.
But like
maybe you're being immersed here because there's something you can learn from it.
Yes.
And it's just all part of consciousness.
Yeah. Like, do you need to have the embodiment of this particular expression because it's most in resonance with where you are now? Or is it all just like an elaborate construct of the subconscious mind to give us this alternative perspective?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but what does happen through this process is that we get the embodied experience of another life, another storyline, another set of strengths and weaknesses, limiting beliefs, gifts, and shortcomings. And we get to learn that through gnosis, right? The embodied knowing, in a way that just reading about it or intellectualizing it doesn't give us.
Yeah.
So in the hypnotic state, you're really able to feel this other experience.
Okay.
And so through that, so again, whatever exactly it is, having this experience, I've seen create really significant shifts in people. So yeah, I'm so excited. And I know that you do therapy work. I know you've done a lot of your own inner work and healing, but tell me a little bit about your growing up experience and the dynamics there. I think you've probably told me, but refresh me on your story.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I'll try to hit the high points, I guess. So
and the low points.
And the low points.
Too.
Yes. Yes. So I was born to a teenage mom. My dad left the picture before I was born. So I sort of grew up with my mom. And that shaped a lot of my earlier years. But when I was about 6, I'm going to skip the first stepdad because it wasn't that impactful, but the second stepdad came into my life, and he was fairly abusive up until the time I was 14, and we fled. Like, he had threatened to kill me. And this is pretty heavy. Like, there wasn't a lot of physical abuse. It was very like mental, emotional, verbal type abuse. It was a pretty toxic dynamic, always walking on eggshells, very unstable, like you never knew when he was going to blow up or whatever. And so anyways, he had threatened to kill me. We fled. I left everything I knew in South Carolina overnight. Like, we came to Tennessee to be with I don't think I've ever told you this part, to be with my grandparents, to be safe. We were going to live there. I was enrolled in school. Like, it was my first week of high school, like 9th grade. I had been in marching band. We were getting ready to have like an exhibition that night. Oh, it was such a great show. Like, it was beautiful. And they were so good. And we left. And
whoa.
So there's going to be like air.
Yeah.
As I'm talking about this stuff, because my nervous system is going to move. But
good.
I was enrolled in a new school, immediately started with a new marching band as like a placeholder, and then the rest is sort of history. Like, my life completely changed overnight. All my friends, like, that's the thing that I remember, is like just leaving all of the relationships behind. The internet wasn't big then. We didn't have cell phones. So just gone, until it wasn't later. And so throughout my life, in my late 20s, my early 30s, unbeknownst to me, I was repeating this type of pattern in other relationships that I had developed with my stepdad, where I needed like the approval, and I needed...
Is this a different stepdad now?
No.
Or the same
one?
Okay.
So, and he passed away before I got married the first time. But that sort of like, I realized later in my first marriage, I was with somebody who was emotionally unavailable, because subconsciously or something, I thought that if I could get that person to love me, then it would be different, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's what I was doing until much later. I guess that's the highs and lows mostly of that. Like, I will say that, like, I met my biological father later on when I was like 18. So there was some stuff around that to work through. Lots of issues around fathers. And then later I realized, like, there were some, mother wounds too, because she was so young. She did the best she could. Obviously, I love my mom. I love my biological dad now, but there were just things that were impactful that happened just because of the circumstances. And all the family stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I was reading through your intake form too, and the things that you filled out there. What was coming through really strong was this belief of like, I will be abandoned if I am fully seen. Like if I am 100% myself, I will be left.
Yeah. I'm already going to start crying.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
It's okay. There's so much crying in this room. It's all good. Yeah. That felt really strong, which certainly there's some of that kind of programmed by your current life experience. And the way that the subconscious and the emotional body works is that things are not always linear. It's not always like A plus B is C. Like things are always colored by our perception of them. So part of this could be wrapped up in this like this literal fear for your life, fear of being seen, found, gotten, like this kind of thing.
And I definitely had to hide before we left.
Yep. Yeah. So that piece, and then this like primordial abandonment by dad just not ever being there. Like a lot of this stuff is like pre-verbal. And even in clients that have like a really loving single parent or even a really loving step parent, like the absence of like this biological half of you can create something energeally that.
Do you have a tissue?
Oh yes, tissue right there. Sorry. So, and then all of these pieces get woven together to create these different beliefs that we carry, right? And sometimes the beliefs are like we can see clearly and directly, like, oh, this came from this experience. And sometimes it's kind of an amalgamation of all the different experiences coming together to create this belief. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel that there's, maybe something to do with this will come up today in this work.
Okay.
We could be surprised. It could be totally different.
Yeah.
But that was, it felt really powerful. Just that like, and would explain, because whatever we believe to be true, whether that's conscious or unconscious, usually it's unconscious,
mm-hmm.
we're always seeking to affirm that belief to be true.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And usually without realizing that we're doing it. Mm-hmm. So like if we don't believe that we were loved by our father, for example, not wanted, not loved, then we are always unconsciously seeking to recreate that dynamic, usually with a spouse. I knew. And then part of you, if you ever have that feeling after something, bad or undesirable happens, that feeling of like, oh, I knew this would happen. This always happens to me. That that you're unconsciously trying to affirm a belief in something.
Yeah. I love belief work. I do a lot of that with my clients, and I do like this marriage that I'm in now. I've been able to recognize quite a bit of that, and it's been really healing to be like, oh, he does love me, and it's okay like to disagree and be myself and all those things. So
that's amazing.
Yeah I'm grateful for that.
Our relationships are our greatest teachers. It seems like there's a lot we can learn on our own, but really when we're like in the field mixing and mingling, that's when all the shadows come out.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So when we do the therapy in this space, in the subconscious space, all of these beliefs become much more like malleable because we're in the emotional body when we're in the subconscious. And so it can be easier to kind of shift them when we find ourselves unable to do it consciously. Like we might have the cognitive awareness of like, I know I'm doing this and I know I just need to change, but we have a hard time making the choice or shifting the belief, right? So this work can help make that process a bit quicker.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So any questions about any of that before I kind of go through the process for today?
My one pressing question is so silly, but like, okay, what if I have to pee in the middle of the session?
We can pause and you can pee.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It'll just be like if you get up to pee in the middle of the night and then you come back and go back to sleep.
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
So yeah. Yeah. And so when it's much, it can be much more relaxed than a lot of people think that it might be. So if you are like uncomfortable and you need another pillow or you're too hot and we need to remove the blanket, like stuff like that, you just tell me and we just make sure you're comfortable. And you'll just stay in trance as we do that, and it won't be disruptive.
Okay.
It'll be more disruptive if you're thinking about something that's not comfortable or like you have to pee so bad. And
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And even things like if you're having a lot of conscious mind interference, like you're really having a hard time connecting, just tell me. And then we try something a little bit different. Okay. Most people are afraid that they're going to have that and then they just go right in. But sometimes we can try some different techniques or some different language to help you go in a little deeper.
Okay. I do have somewhat of a headache right now.
Okay.
Will that affect it?
Maybe we can work on kind of bringing that down. I can also give you like an Advil or something if you want.
I brought Tylenol, but I've had like sinus pressure all morning. And so it's like, but it feels more like tension. And I'm like, I wonder if it's been building all week, the tension back here. And I'm like, I wonder if this
is related.
Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it very well could be. Okay. Yeah. It's a lot of times when we like commit to this type of work, things start moving preemptively. So
and it was fun. Like I had gotten it to go down before I got here and everything like that. And now as I'm sitting here, it's like it's really come back. So
okay. Yeah. So maybe related and we can maybe work with it.
Okay. But I can take an Advil too if I need to. Like
we can kind of see how we feel after we get through this part. I'm kind of getting some stuff coming in, but I think it's potentially related to what'll come up today.
Okay.
So
it feels like I've had knots, just constant knots throughout my life since I was about 15. So I feel like it all started after we left South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe like an emotional holding and
I think so.
Yeah, we can investigate that. So the way that I facilitate a past life is that we will first go through maybe 2 or 3 early childhood memories to kind of get you in the practice of experiencing regression and to just go further back and back and back. So we'll touch on 2 or 3 early childhood memories. I'll guide you to have these be positive, happy memories. If for some reason they're not, I trust that that's because this needs to come forth for you before we can go back further. And if that does come up, we'll take care of that and work through that. And then sometimes that makes the sessions a little longer, but that's okay. Again, I always trust the client in this process that what is coming up for you is what is like most urgent for you to process. And so then from there, we'll go back into your time in the womb, in your mother's womb, and see what's going on there.
That was probably tumultuous for her. So
yeah. There's womb work is like just its own field of hypnosis. It's so fascinating. And because we are essentially of mom at that time. So we can really take on a lot of her stuff, potentially, not always, but we just kind of check in, see what's happening, see if there's anything that needs attention or resolution there. And then from there, then we'll go back into another life. And then our objective is to experience as much of this life as we can in the time that we have. So we really want to get as many details as are available to us as far as who you are, what is your life like, how did you spend your time, what was running you, who are your people, or did you have people, just all of the dynamics. We want to get as much info as we can. Sometimes people are really getting a lot of specific details. Sometimes it's more of like the overarching themes and patterns and feelings of the life. And then we move through to the last day of that life and move you through the death transition.
Ooh.
And yeah, everyone's always like, ah! Yeah. But we don't like re-experience or feel it. We just are aware of what happens. How did you die? We move you through the death transition. And then from there, we go through a couple things, and then we'll do a sort of life review of like, let's now having lived this whole life, what were the primary lessons? Did you do what you came here to do in that life? Did you not? Is there anything from this life that's holding you back in this life that is time to release to the past? Sometimes we can also get some cool information and guidance for this current life in that space from higher self or guides or source, a lot of different names for, I think, the same thing.
Yeah.
And that can be really neat just to have like the bird's eye perspective of this whole life. Mm-hmm. And then if there's anything that you want to ask, you can ask at that time.
Okay.
And then that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well,
questions about that?
I don't think so. I'm looking forward to it. I want to meet my guides. I want to know who they are, but I don't know.
You may.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I talk to them all the time. So.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I just don't know their name. I don't, like I can't see them or anything like that at this point. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. We'll see what comes up there then. And so you've not experienced hypnosis before, right?
Correct.
Okay. So a couple things. Some people are going to be very visual, where they're like really seeing things in their mind's eye. Other people are not so visual. They'll more get like a flash or like an idea or a knowing of what's going on. And then other people have a very somatic experience where they're feeling a lot of sensation in the body. So if you're not like seeing everything, you're not doing it wrong. It just means that the information is coming to you a little bit differently. Okay. Like myself, when I do this work, I will get like a flash of a visual and then kind of sometimes like a download of the whole story. Okay. And it's like, I just know it. Like I already knew it, but I'm not necessarily seeing it play out. And if you need help as we're moving through this, kind of figuring all that out, just tell me and I can help guide you. And it's a very natural process because we are in and out of trance all day. Anytime you're like in your imagination, right? Like thinking about an interaction or what you're going to do when you get home or how you're going to repot this plant and you're kind of seeing those images in your mind's eye. That's all going into a hypnotic state.
Okay.
So it's very natural for us to go there.
I was going to say, I feel like I do that a lot. Mm-hmm. So,
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we all do. Or when you're reading and imagining what's going on in the story, scrolling on Instagram, immersed in a television show, even in conversation, like we're in and out of trance, kind of dipping in and out. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Cool.
Yes. I think that's it. Any other questions for me?
Not that I can think of.
And are you okay with some hands-on stuff throughout the session? So I'll do
Sure.
some of the energy work and
Okay.
okay.
I've never had anything like that either.
Oh.
Reiki or anything has
Really?
never been. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All
Well,
right.
let's begin.
All right.